The voice of this video is generated by voice booking. Today I am going to show you how make the rings penetration effect of Mandarine from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. But before starting this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video and put on the notification bell. This is the result of my work. It is not like the original one, but we can do with it. These rings are in 3D made from Cinema 4D. Before we start to recreate this effect, we will first see the original and how it is made. The first thing is to create the ring in 3D, but you don't have to do it, but you just have to download it on the link I put on the description. Then open it and follow my instructions that I am going to give you. I present to you my video that I filmed. From the filming I made a small difference than that of the original. I did not respect the focus of the camera on my hand. After opening the 3D file that I put in description, you will find yourself on this view, Cinema 4D. The first step is to create a background and import your video through a material and apply it to the background. After that you will create a camera and you will start to classify the black capsule, which moreover represents your hand. You will place it clearly on your hand, then record the positions on the button in red. You are going to do this along your video. Now after having recorded the movement of the capsule on your hand, you will activate the visibility of the ring grouping on your right to make the ring appear. We will start to animate the entry of the rings in the hand. To do so, deactivate the visibility of the background to make the addition fluid. It's now that the editing begins. The thing that is a little hard here is the effect of animating the ring frame by frame, then of duplicating it and starting again to do small retouching on each of them. If you find it hard, I recommend you to put in the background the original video of Marvel Shang-Chi, more precisely the scene which I put at the beginning of the video. Now we will start to animate the first ring by taking it out at the end of the footage to facilitate the editing. After having finished animating my rings, now we will do a small check on the result. We will also see it without the background, which is probably a step not to be missed or to be neglected. After having finished animating the rings frame by frame, you must add lights for the rings. To do so, go to the panel above and select the black bulb. Then you will categorize it according to your video. By the example of mine, I filmed it around 3 p.m. and at this moment from the top of the sky the sun was straight on my head. And this means that I have to place the light at the top of the rings logically. Now we are back in After Effects. Now we have to do a little wrist tracking to get her out in front of the rings. This step is mandatory for this tutorial. To do this we will use our favorite tracker, which is Mocha. To open it, we will go to Effects and Predefined Parameters and write Mocha or apply it from the Effect menu at the top. You take it and then put it on the source video. After, click on the Mocha logo and wait for it to open. Now we have to do the wrist tracking, I mean the wrist. You have to click on the selection tool at the top to select the wrist. To do it well, you have to use the zoom tool in order to see well what. So I finished my tracking. Now you will press Ctrl+S to save or close Mocha, then click on Save to save the project. Now, you will click on Matte, then on Visible Layers you will click on Create a Mask. But before doing that, you have to duplicate the source video by selecting it and pressing the Ctrl+D combination. Here we can see that the wrist has come out well. It only remains for us to verify. Cut out the non-interesting part and delete it. Now we come back to Cinema 4D to launch the ring rendering. This step is very important, please follow me carefully. You need to render each ring separately. In total we have 5 and we must have 5 different files each. You must also change the color of the capsule to green and the background to green. I repeat again, you have to make the rendering of each ring separately by deactivating the view of the other rings on the visibility and the rendering. To be clicked on the dots until they turn red. To facilitate the work, go to the rendering parameters, then adjust the size of the rendering according to your video. 1920 by 1080 for me, and start rendering on different files. Now, we will continue with the rendering of the second ring on a different folder. Here we are back in After Effects now. We will progress to import our render files into our working panel. Now we are going to use Keylight to remove the green font. To do so, go to the effect and appear predefined, then look for Keylight 1.2. Click on the little icon here, and select the color green. Then set screen balance to 100. Now, we have to uncheck the More parameters, then check Position, Scale, Rotation. It is very important to add more animation to the rings. Now we go towards the end of the vid and increase the size of the ring. We have to adjust each ring in solo for better manage result. Here we have to cut out the part where the rings start to enter the hand and place it at the bottom of the handle that we have followed the movements from Mocha. We can see that the rings come out behind my wrist, and that's what gives a good result. After having finished placing and animating all my rings, we will focus on customizing the rings. On blur and sharpness. Here we have 2 waves of the hand, we must pre-compose them each to facilitate the task. Then we will duplicate them each. Now, we add the CC Radial Fast Blur effect from the FFECT panel. And you click in Center, then place the point in front of rings. Then you go Ambient and adjust it. The amount depends on your video and the quality of the ring rendering. This means that you don't have to make the same amount as me. Then you select CC Radial Blur in Effect panel, then place the center point in front of rings again, and you go Type and select Fading Zoom. Then you go Ambient and adjust it. Now we have a pretty spectacular result. Now we have motion blur and sharpness on our rings. We will progress our tutorial with the second part of pre-composition that we did previously and do the same as the first pre-composition. That's mean to make the same special effects, CC Radial Fast Blur and CC Radial Blur. We had a pretty good result. But that does not satisfy us because the video is quite fast. Now that's what we have to do, is turn it slowly. To do this, we will again pre-compose the rings 2 by 2. Then adjust the duration of your video speed. And at the end of the tutorial you will use RG Magic Looks to give it a better look to your video by adapting the color of the rings to your video. At the end of our video, we animated the rings, adjust them and then classify them. That's it for this tutorial. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel.